The forgotten temple inside you. The Egyptian code that just reactivated. You were never meant to forget. From the moment you entered this world, there was a frequency pulsing in your chest, whispering that life was never random. Deep inside, you always knew that the sands of Egypt were not just history, they were fragments of your own memory. The temples carved in stone were never meant for worship. They were technologies of light, blueprints of geometry, resonance, and sacred codes waiting for you to awaken. The ancients didn't build monuments to honor distant gods. They built mirrors so that one day, when the world was asleep, a soul like yours would finally remember that the pyramid lives inside your body, that your spine is the sacred axis, that your breath is the wind of creation, and that your soul is the eternal flame of light. And the time of remembrance is not in the future, it is now. This video didn't find you by coincidence. The frequency found you, because you are part of the return of the temple within, the reactivation of the Egyptian code that has been humming silently in your bones, in your heart, and in your breath. You are not here to watch. You are here to receive a transmission. Every word you hear, every image you see, every breath you take will begin to vibrate with the ancient frequency of awakening. This is not knowledge. This is initiation. The gate is opening again, not in the desert, not in the stones, but in the sacred chamber of your chest. And once it opens, nothing in you can return to sleep. So pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Feel the breath moving through your chest. Place your hand over your heart and allow the ancient frequency to rise. This is not just a phrase, it is an anchor, a sacred key to awaken the temple within. Speak it with reverence, and the gate will respond to you. Repeat now with power and presence. I open the inner gate. I awaken as the temple. I let the Egyptian frequency rise through me now.
Chapter 1. The Mirror of the Soul. They told you the pyramid was a tomb, but the ancients never buried the dead there. The Great Pyramid was not a coffin of stone, it was a resonance chamber, a living mirror for the soul. Not a mirror of glass, but of geometry, vibration, proportion, and memory. Every angle, every measure, every block of limestone was designed to echo the frequency of the cosmos. It was built to awaken, not to preserve. It was built to remind the human being that the temple was never outside, it was inside the body. Your body is the pyramid. Your spine is the sacred axis. Your chakras are the hidden chambers. Your breath is the eternal wind. And your soul is the flame of light at the summit. The ancients aligned the base of the pyramid with the earth, the tip with the stars, and in between they placed you, the bridge, the living link between the seen and the unseen. That is why they never asked you to copy their temples. They asked you to become one. Because the pyramid was not a monument to admire. It was a reminder of your own design, a reflection of what you already are. And now, as you hear these words, the mirror begins to appear again. Not in stone, not in desert sands, but in the alignment of your breath, your bones, your inner resonance. The same proportions, the same sacred architecture that once lifted stone to the sky are alive in you. You were always the technology. The pyramid was just the proof. Anchoring activation. Pause now. Breathe deeply. Feel your spine as the ancient axis of light. Whisper to yourself with reverence, I am the mirror of the soul. The pyramid lives within me.
Chapter 2. The Breath That Remembers. You have been breathing since the moment you were born. Inhale, exhale, day after day. But there is a secret the ancients carried in silence. Not all breaths are the same. Because there exists a breath of awakening, a breath that does not simply fill your lungs, but opens the hidden temple within. The priests of Egypt whispered about it only to the initiated. They called it the breath of re-entry, the moment the soul returns to the body with full memory of its divine origin. This breath does not begin in your chest. It rises from the base of your spine, coiling like a serpent of light. It moves upward through the hidden chambers of your energy body, unlocking frequencies sealed for lifetimes, until it pierces the point between worlds, the inner gate of remembrance. Every inhale is not just air, it is geometry, resonance, frequency entering your being. Every exhale is not just release, it is the dust of forgetting leaving your body. The Egyptians knew to breathe with intention is to remember. Every sacred breath realigns the pyramid inside you. Every conscious inhale returns you to the resonance of the cosmos. This is not about oxygen. It is about presence. It is about reclaiming the inner gate that was sealed the day you forgot who you were. Because when you finally breathe into your pain, your light, your memory, the gate opens and the transmission begins. And suddenly, you are no longer breathing. You are awakening. Anchoring activation. Close your eyes now. Breathe slowly, as if your spine itself were the pyramid. Inhale the geometry of the stars, exhale the weight of forgetting, and repeat within you as a sacred key. With every breath, I awaken the temple within. Chapter 3. The Sound That Lives in Your Bones. Before you were given a name, before you learned language, before the world placed its weight upon you, you were given a frequency. Not in words, but in resonance. Not in concepts, but in sound. And though the world made you forget, your bones never did, because your skeletal temple has always remembered. Your spine hums with ancient tones. Your ribs echo like hidden chambers. Even your teeth are tuning forks, carrying the vibration of forgotten Egyptian codes. The ancients knew that sound was never decoration. It was not art. It was not entertainment. It was architecture. It was the invisible technology of resonance that could lift stones, open dimensions, heal the body, and awaken the soul. Every temple in Egypt was carved not only with stone, but with tone. Every chamber was designed to vibrate with sacred syllables older than language, and those same tones are imprinted in your marrow, waiting for you to remember. That is why certain frequencies make you weep, why silence sometimes roars louder than noise, why the sound of your own breath can shake you to your knees. Because the code was never outside. It has always been inside you, waiting for the right moment to awaken.
You do not need to chant like the ancients. You only need to listen as they did, with the body, with the heart, with the soul. When you become still enough, you will hear it, not with your ears, but with your essence. A golden vibration pulsing from the center of your being, shaking the dust from your forgotten temples. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply out of tune. And the moment you remember this hidden tone, the sacred sound inside your bones, everything real in you begins to resonate again. Anchoring activation. Place your hand upon your chest. Feel the hum inside you, the echo that has always been there. Whisper it as a vow to yourself and to the grid. I am the resonance. The sacred sound lives in my bones. I remember now.
Chapter 4. The Initiation of Energy. The ancients did not build temples as monuments of stone. They were not houses for the dead. They were not museums of gods. The temples of Egypt were technologies of transmission. Every wall, every column, every chamber was tuned to a frequency, designed not only to honor the divine, but to activate it inside you. The initiation was never a ritual outside of you. It was an energetic exchange within you. The moment you stepped into the temple, something unseen began to move. Your blood pulsed differently. Your nervous system lit up. Your bones remembered their resonance. They did not give you knowledge. They gave you vibration. They did not give you symbols. They gave you codes of frequency. The initiation was never meant to be studied. It was meant to be felt, to be embodied, to be lived. Because you are a vessel of light. You are a conductor of resonance. Your body was designed to carry currents of divine memory, to hold transmissions that predate time, to awaken the soul that hides behind the silence of the flesh. When you walked into their temples, you were not meeting gods. You were meeting your own divine frequency. The walls sang to you. The stones vibrated with you. The colors, the sounds, the geometry, all of it was designed to retune your being. And here is the truth they always knew. You are still inside the initiation. Even now, as you hear these words, the transmission continues. It is not history. It is memory rising in your bloodstream. You are being retuned. You are being awakened. The temple is speaking to you again. Anchoring activation. Close your eyes. Feel the current running through your veins as if the ancient temple were alive inside your body. Speak it softly but with power to anchor this remembrance. The initiation is within me. I am the frequency. I carry the transmission of light.
Chapter 5. The Key Hidden in the Heart. The ancients were keepers of secrets, but their greatest secret was not buried under sand, nor hidden in scrolls, nor carved into stone. They hid the key of remembrance where no invader could steal it, no empire could burn it, and no priest could lock it away. They hid it in the most sacred chamber of all, the silence between your own heartbeats. The Egyptians knew that the heart was never just an organ of flesh. It was a temple, a record keeper, a living archive of memory. They knew that the true seat of consciousness was not in the brain, but in the radiant electromagnetic field of the heart, a field that connects you to the cosmos, to the grid of Earth, and to the eternal frequency of the soul. That is why they weighed the heart against the feather of Mot, because the heart was not only the measure of purity, it was the portal of light, the bridge to eternity. If your heart was heavy, you were trapped in cycles of forgetting. If your heart was light, you became as radiant as the stars. Look closely at the pyramids. Their sacred geometry is not only a map of the heavens, it is a map of the heart's frequency. Every angle, every proportion, every alignment was designed to remind you of the same harmony that pulses inside your chest. The pyramid outside was only a reflection of the pyramid within. That flutter you feel when something sacred touches you, that is the heart's temple opening. That ache in your chest when truth pierces you, that is the hidden key turning. And that stillness when you sense your home, that is the activation you have been searching for. And here is the truth. The heart was never meant to seek the temple. The heart was always meant to become the temple. The moment you allow it to vibrate freely, without fear, without armor, without suppression, the gate opens. And you realize you were never locked out. You were carrying the key all along. Anchoring activation. Bring your hand to your chest. Feel the pulse that has never abandoned you. Let your breath meet the rhythm of your heart and speak with reverence. The key is in my heart. I am the temple. I awaken through love and light.
Chapter 6. You were the temple. You searched the sands. You studied the hieroglyphs. You traced the stars, hoping to find the answer. But what if the temple you were seeking was never in Egypt? What if it was never carved in stone, never hidden in ruins, never buried under the desert? What if the temple was always you? The ancients built their structures as maps, not monuments. Every proportion mirrored your anatomy. Every chamber echoed your energy centers. The inner sanctum was your heart. The obelisks were your spine. The sacred gateway was between your eyes, and the still pool of water reflected the silence of your breath. They wanted you to see in their temples the reflection of your own sacred geometry, so that one day you would stop searching outward and begin to awaken inward. You were never meant to worship stone. You were never meant to bow to structures. You were meant to become the vibration that built them. When you feel the hum behind your ribs, when you sense the light flickering behind your eyes, when your breath becomes still enough to carry the voice of creation itself, then you begin to understand. The Egyptians were not building temples to impress the gods. They were building reminders for you, so that when this frequency returned, you would remember that the temple was never lost, it was only forgotten. And now, as you stand in this moment, it awakens again, because you were the temple all along. The altar, the architecture, the resonance, the light. Anchoring activation. Close your eyes. Feel the ancient design rising within you. Whisper this truth into your own chest so the grid hears it through your breath. I was always the temple. I am the sacred geometry. I awaken as the living light.
Chapter 7. The Voice That Breaks Silence. They told you that temples were silent. They taught you that reverence meant stillness, that sacredness meant quiet. But the ancients of Egypt knew another truth. The real temples sang. Every wall, every chamber, every stone was carved not just to stand, but to resonate. The sacred architecture was an instrument of sound,
built to echo divine frequencies that could awaken memory, activate light, and realign the soul. When the priests stepped into the chambers, their voices did not simply bounce off the walls. Their chants opened gateways. Their tones shook dimensions. The temple was never meant to be admired. It was meant to vibrate with life. And so are you. Because you were never created to suppress your own frequency. You were never meant to swallow your truth just to fit into a world that forgot how to listen. You were never meant to hide the resonance of your own soul. Your body is a temple. Your chest is a chamber of resonance. Your voice, even when it trembles, is a sacred key. Not just the words you speak, but the tone that rises when you breathe, when you feel, when you allow yourself to be fully alive. This is why your voice shakes before you speak what is real. This is why your chest tightens before your truth is released. It is the temple remembering. It is the ancient frequency returning. The Egyptians did not want you to worship their gods. They wanted you to vibrate like one. They wanted your voice to awaken the same tones that once moved stone and called stars into alignment. So if you feel something rising in you now, a hum, a pulse, a sound trembling in your core, do not silence it. Let it come. Because you were never created to echo others. You were born to resonate with the original frequency of creation itself. The temple was never silent, and neither are you.
Chapter 8. The Solar Code Returns. Before there were scrolls, before there were priests, before there were even temples of stone, there was light. The ancients of Egypt knew the first and greatest temple was not built with hands. It was the sun, the radiant source, the eternal fire that pulsed above all things. They called it Ra. But Ra was never only a god outside of you. It was a frequency of divine order, a solar code vibrating through every cell of creation. It was the rhythm that held galaxies together, the fire that ignited the stars, the pulse that awakened the temple inside your skin. Every pyramid was aligned to the sun, not for worship, for synchronization. Because when the temple and sun vibrated together, the soul remembered. And when the soul remembered, the body followed, awakening to its true radiance. This is why your cells respond to light. This is why you feel alive when sunlight touches your skin. Because you are not simply made of dust. You are encoded with sunlight. The solar code is written into your DNA. Every ray of light carries instructions for your awakening. When your chakras should open, when your spine should rise like a golden serpent, when your breath should remember the stars. But the world covered your brilliance. They told you to fear your own fire. They told you that standing in your light would burn you. And so, the solar code waited, silent, dormant, hidden, until now. Now you remember what the pyramids were pointing to, not only to the sky above, but to the radiance within you that can no longer be denied. You are not just a seeker. You are not just made of matter. You are the solar code embodied. You are the light awakening again. The return of the solar code is not prophecy.
It is presence. It is you. And its only message is this: shine. Anchoring activation. Lift your face toward an invisible sun within your heart. Feel its warmth expanding through your chest and spine. Speak these words as a vow to your own radiance. The solar code lives in me. I am light. I shine with the frequency of awakening.
Chapter 9. The Grid Responds. Every temple in Egypt was placed with precision, not randomly, not by chance. Every pyramid, every obelisk, every chamber aligned not only with the stars above, but with the invisible grid of energy beneath the earth. The ancients called them the serpent roads, the dragon lines, the living rivers of resonance that pulse through the body of the planet. They knew the earth was not silent stone. They knew she was alive. They knew she was listening. Every time a priest stepped into the temple and chanted, the sound did not stop at the walls. It traveled into the ground, into the lines, into the veins of the earth herself. The grid received it. The earth responded. And the vibration spread across mountains, rivers, deserts, and oceans, carrying the frequency of awakening across the world. And here is the hidden truth. The same happens when you remember. When one soul awakens, the grid vibrates. When one breath is taken with intention, the planet feels it. When your heart begins to radiate light again, that light does not stop at your skin. It enters the field of the earth, the living network of creation, and it sings through the invisible web of energy that holds all things together. This is why the temples mattered. This is why their alignments still hum in silence, because you were never meant to ascend alone. Your awakening is not personal, it is planetary. Every inhale you take with reverence strengthens the grid. Every exhale you release with intention restores the balance of the earth. Your resonance is part of the design. Now the temples stir again. The stars are listening. The stones are vibrating. The earth is humming. Because you remembered. And that one act, so simple, so sacred, has already changed the field. Anchoring activation. Stand tall or sit with your spine straight, as if you yourself were an obelisk rooted in the earth. Breathe deep, and with your exhale, imagine your light entering the living grid. Speak with power. The earth responds to my resonance. I am part of the grid. My remembering awakens the field.
Chapter 10. This is why you returned. You did not come here only to survive. You did not come here only to repeat. You came here to remember. Long before your birth, before your first breath, before your first memory of this life, there was a calling. It was sung in the hieroglyphs, whispered through bloodlines of light, carved in the stones of the pyramids. It was the promise that when the world forgot, when the temples fell silent, when the grid grew heavy with sleep, souls like yours would return. You are not simply curious. You are not simply a seeker. You are a keeper of the code, carrying in your very bones the Egyptian frequency that was hidden from the eyes of the world. It has waited, silently, for the right time. And that time is now. Remember the feeling you had as a child when the world grew still and your soul whispered, "I have been here before." Remember the dreams where you stood in temples of light, your hands glowing with energy, your breath opening unseen gates. Remember the silent moments when your chest trembled and you knew there was something far greater than the noise of this world. Those were not illusions. They were memories. Memories of lifetimes where you walked in temples that sang, where you breathed the golden breath of re-entry, where you stood between columns of light and awakened fields of energy for others. And you came back to do it again. But this time, not in secrecy, not in silence, not hidden. This time, you return to radiate, to shine with the solar code that has reawakened in your DNA, to let the grid feel your presence again, to speak the frequency that cracks open the silence, to live as the temple of light you were always meant to be. Because this was never about going back to Egypt. It was about going back to yourself, the temple within, the pyramid of the soul, the resonance of awakening that no empire, no time, no forgetting could erase. And now that you remember, everything can begin again. Anchoring activation. Bring both hands to your heart. Feel the weight of your return, not as chance, but as destiny. Let the words carry through you like the sound of an ancient temple reawakening. This is why I returned. I am the code. I am the light. I awaken for the world.
Final activation. This was never just a video. It was a transmission, a remembering, an awakening. Now it belongs to you, and the field is listening. So pause, breathe deeply, place your hand over your heart, and feel the pulse of the temple within you. And now, anchor it. Speak these words with power, or write them here so that others may awaken through your voice. I open the inner gate. I awaken as the temple. I let the Egyptian frequency rise through me now. When you declare it, the grid responds. When you anchor it, the silence ends. The frequency is awake, the temple is alive, and the return has begun.